globe.
Our report is founded upon the concept of sustainable development.
When you are named a faith keeper of the Onondaga Council of Chiefs, and for me, it was 51 years ago, you are told that we are now placing in your hands all life, and it is your responsibility to look after all life. Every person, every tree, every animal, every stream, and the earth itself, unto the seventh generation. In 1972, the world started a process that is mapping our future. The United Nations Conference on the Human Environment held in Stockholm brought the industrialized and developing nations together to delineate the rights of people to a healthy and productive environment.
The environmental crisis will profoundly alter our planet.
The fossil fuels is slowly warming the globe.
Our report is founded upon the concept of sustainable development.
We all have two hands and the sentiment of the world.
Now I wonder if they will even exist.
We are plundering our children's heritage for our present unsustainable practices.
Notre maison brûle.
The key is to come out from Johannesburg with a credible commitment to action.
Now is your moment
to save ourselves and the planet for our children.
We can fix this. We can stop this madness.
Accelerated climate change is here right now.
I will link arms with those marching for climate action.
We, baby, are going to fight. Mommy, Daddy, your president too. We will all fight.
We are experiencing a process that is linking our nations and communities much more closely together than they have ever been before. Our lives are intertwined via the food we eat, the music we listen to, the information we get, and the ideas we hold. Last year, the world's leaders unanimously committed to eliminate extreme poverty, address climate change, and build more resilient societies. In the Agenda 2030, we have a blueprint for sustainable development. Now the real work and the real opportunities begin. The potential offered by these new Sustainable Development Goals and the binding treaty on climate change is immense.
It is a new chapter of hope for the world.
It is we, the peoples, who are embarking today on a journey towards a more sustainable and equitable future. Our journey will involve governments, the United Nations system and other international institutions, local authorities, indigenous peoples, civil society, business and the private sector, the scientific and the academic community, and all people. This interconnectedness among humans on the planet is creating a global village where the barriers of national and international boundaries become less relevant.
A beautiful good morning to all. I'm pretty sure you all are very much excited for the class today. I've been looking at the comment section and I can see different excitement. We are happy to be here. Good morning. I'm excited for the masterclass today. And this is amazing to be part of something big, interesting. I just want you all to drop in the chat what your expectation for today's master class is. Like, what do you look out for? What are your expectations? What do you envisage to learn today? And while you're at it, I want to say good morning and welcome to you all. Thank you for joining in. I trust you all set your alarm for today's class. Please prompt your friends who are on your group chat to join in, because the class will start soon and don't want anyone missing the class today. Yes, with me today on the call, we have our network coordinator, Mr. Emmanuel Olaolowoyo, who will be coming on shortly, and also co-moderating this section with me is Okweifa Faridat, who would also be coming on board to interact with you all. So while our project lead for the sport, Mayowa Sholola, would also be coming on board to address you much later. And yes, so yes, before we proceed, I would like to say a warm welcome to you all. Thank you all for joining in, and I trust that we all are going to get the very best in today's masterclass section. Like I said, to prompt your fellow changemakers to join in the class before we proceed. Yes, I can see Omawumi Omoya say, I'm looking forward to learning and unlearning. I'm particularly interested in the climate change topic. Interesting. The NutriSpace said, I'm looking forward to understanding deeper what I'm passionate about. Nice. Right. I like that. Keep it coming before we proceed. And also prompt your fellow changemakers to join in the class, because we don't want anybody missing their first class. So please kindly tell them to join in. All right. I can see to have the knowledge of sustainable development in abundance and how to apply same in solving climatic and energy problems. Interesting. Ellie Johanna said, I am expecting several ways we can take these goals to the grassroots in a more practical way. All right. I'm pretty sure our speakers are going to do justice to the topics we have today. And we have very much interesting topics, trust me, from the concept and future of sustainable development to the climate change aspects of the topic. So we're going to get the very best today class. So without wasting much of our time, so that we can proceed to what we have today, I'll be handing over to my co-moderator, who will be coming on board to introduce our facilitators, and I trust that we all are going to get the very best. So wishing you all the best in your class today. Welcome once again. Thank you. Over to you, Faridat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oluwatoyin, for that warm introduction. Thank you so much, Oluwatoyin, for that very warm introduction. Good morning, everyone. I am Farida Okweifa, and I'll be your moderator for today's week 1 masterclass session of the SDGs Advocate Programme Cohort 7. We have a very exciting agenda lined up for everyone, with inspiring sessions and facilitators who will guide us through the world of sustainable development. So let's begin with our first facilitator. We have Mr. Emmanuel. Mr. Emmanuel Olaolowoyo is a development catalyst and esteemed scholar in sustainable development practice from Nigeria. As a network coordinator of the United Nations Sustainable Development Solution Network, he plays a pivotal role in steering the nation towards achievable sustainable development goals. He specializes in formulating developmental policies and programs, conducting multidisciplinary research and projects aimed at alleviating global challenges such as endemic poverty, malnutrition, inequality, unemployment, and underdevelopment. He has been instrumental in establishing several impactful projects across Africa, including Teach for SDGs, African SDGs Mentorship Programme, SDGs Advocate Programmes, Climate Actors Accelerator Program, Recycle Up Nigeria, Genius B, and more. Additionally, he has led campaigns and workshops like Eco 30, Green School, and the SDG Spotlights, all focused on advancing sustainable development goals. He will be facilitating the session on concept and evolution of sustainable development. Mr. Emmanuel, we are delighted to have you with us. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Faridat. Thank you for that introduction. And I'm very, very glad to be here this morning to share with each and every one of you a topic that speaks and resonates well with me, which I always like to speak on each and every day. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Please, I just need a thumbs up to those who are in the back end of today's session. Yeah, my name is Emmanuel Oluwoyo, introduced, and I'm delighted to be here this morning speaking on the topic that was assigned to me. Thank you for that confirmation, Faridat. And once again, congratulations to each and every one of you that are being onboarded to this cohort. Yes, I know that today's session is going to be a very interactive one and an engaging one indeed, which I really want each and every one of you to, enjoy and try as much as possible to also note every key information that are being shared. Yeah, thank you everyone for the thumbs up. I can see that, I can see we are ready for today's session. Okay, I've been asked to do this topic and speaking on the concept and evolution of sustainable development. However, yesterday, when I was checking through my presentation, I felt like, yes, when we talk about concept of sustainable development, this has been in existence. I mean, it's been in existence for years and definitely it's going to be forever. Sustainable development has been in existence since the 16th, 17th century to the 1972, where we had when we had one of the very first events that focused more on environment, and when that was the Stockholm Conference. And I want to believe that each and everyone here, this is not the first time you are hearing about sustainable development, because yes, I also want to believe that each and every one of you are scholars. Yeah, thank you very much, Bamdiko. You said you can hear me, but there is this session, I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions. So please prepare to answer these questions. And the very first question I'm going to ask, when it comes to sustainable development, I would love you rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. So 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. Your knowledge on SDGs. You have to be very sincere and you have to be honest with yourself. So even if it is 0, it can't be 0 anyway, because you're already here. So the fact that you are hearing sustainable development this morning, that means, yeah, you already had 1 score. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I want to see the rating. I want to see your rating. And if it's 7, if it's 8, oh, I can see the very first person, Olalekon said 7. Joel, what's 8.5? Oh, that's good. Okay. I want to see those who are going to be very, very honest. Olumori, 10. Amazing. That's very laudable. And those are our professors in the house. So, okay, I can see some people being so honest. They said 2. Who said -1? That's very funny. So, okay, I can see 10, I can see 9, I can see, okay, keep it coming. Okay, I can see another 10. There's Aishat Jinad said 10. Mohammed, you are very honest. Thank you. But I'm very sure from this session, you're going to have at least, you'll be able to rate your knowledge to like 5, if not 6. So, okay, keep it coming. All right. So this morning, like Darlington asked, what are we talking about? This morning, we are talking about the concept and future of sustainable development. Like yesterday, when myself and the program's lead was talking, and I told her my expression that this time around, we are just less than 5 years to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. So we should be looking deep into the prospect of sustainable development for each and every one of us. And we should also be looking deep into the future of sustainable development And, when we talk about the future of sustainable development, this basically is looking at, okay, within that period of 5 years to 2030, what are those urgent actions we can get to work on? So what is the future really looking like? And, recently, the International Youth Day, we're talking about local action. I think that's the major part which I'll be talking about. And now we're talking about climate resilience, adaptation, ensuring that every vulnerable communities and regions are being safe. And we are also trying to ensure that each and every community, there is this word I took from greening education. We have climate ready schools. I mean, schools, educators, students, each and everyone are climate ready. So I'm looking at digital transformation now. So when you talk about future of sustainable development, you look at digital transformation, and because this is a key enabler when you talk about sustainable development, and it has a lot of advantages. We talk about design thinking, system thinking, intergenerational leadership. But this session is basically as simple. I'm going to make it as simple for each and every one of us. And to those of you that are at 10, I'm very sure in the course of this session, you will see the reason why you are not having 10, because there are quite a lot of things that you're going to be learning afresh from today's session. So I'm just going to be sharing my slide, and I hope I'm able to cover this session within 1 hour, because ideally this is what I take for at least a minimum of 2 hours. So, but permit me, the programs team, if I go beyond that 1 hour for some minutes. So, just a minute while I get to share my presentation slide. Okay, to everyone, I know you've been dropping, you've been rating yourself so far. I can see a lot of people rating themselves all the while. And there's this question I want to ask you, because it's also important we get to have a deep understanding. And when you talk about sustainability, when you talk about sustainable development, when you talk about the SDGs, these are things we do day to day. And in one way or the other, you're already practicing sustainability. There was a time, the first time I heard about the word circularity, which is talking more about the practice of circular economy. It's not like we will not be practicing circularity. It's just that we don't understand that which we're doing, those bottles you keep or those things you reuse are circularity, and, they are circular economic practices. So when you hear the word sustainable development, what comes to your mind? I mean, when you hear the word sustainable development, I just want to just use the comment section to address that. When you hear the words, you can stop the rating now. When you hear the word sustainable development, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind? Yeah. So I'm going to be checking through all our questions. The public health girl, you are going to get every presentation slides. And yeah, so okay, Miracle Success said success. Okay, sustainability. And the public health girl said long-term solution. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And that's a very good definition. Steward of the Earth. I love that name, Steward of the Earth. Nice one. Using the recent resources without compromising the need of the future generation. Oh, amazing. That's a very good one. George Igwe said lasting development. Vam said growth without decline. Growth without decline. Don't leave me. Nice one. David said development that ensures continuity. Yes, ensuring that, it's the word sustainability is something you can break into two: sustain, then ability. So now change it back: ability to sustain the process, ability to sustain the resources. So I'm just using the definition which David spoke about. And I can see Ojetunde Faith said long development. My notes, I'm just trying to read. Yeah, long lasting. David said long lasting. Toluwalokwe says sustainable development is about creating a future where people, planet, and prosperity thrive together. Absolutely, absolutely. Something that is sustainable in the future. I'm trying to see definitions solutions that solutions to the overdue issues. Okay, saving the earth is the act. It's the active perpetual continuum of solution. Okay, conservation. Thank you for those good words. Thank you for those good words. Thank you for those good words. A long-term solution for a problem, then Monyolu says to survive. These are very good definitions, which we have all shared. And in fact, it's just like all of you, you've actually peeked into my slides. So I think if you want to define sustainable development, right from those definitions which each and every one of you have shared, I want to say that we have more than enough definition to define sustainable development. But I'm just going to do some very major brief. And please, at the end of this question, at the end of this session, I'll be happy to take your questions. Then we can get to interact more better. I hope we have more time to do that anyway. So, and one of those key things which I'm going to be dwelling more is, I'm going to skip the background of sustainable development because definitely it's what we've spoken about, all defined. So I wish we can even, AI can put all of those definitions together for us. We're going to see a 10-page document on what a conceptual review of sustainable development is all about. So we'll talk about evolution of sustainable development, talk about the transition from MDGs to SDGs. We talk about the formation process, and we talk about the goals, targets, and indicators of SDGs. We also talk about the principles. The principles are basically what makes the SDGs special, better than the MDGs. And also we talk about the dimension and pillar of sustainable development. Then I will take you through the aspect of SDG transformation and levelers. And we also talk about practical steps for aligning local action with global goals. And this is talking more, I think these are the snippets to the aspect of the future of sustainable development, which I already mentioned about the other time. And yeah, we've all defined it, and there are quite a lot of definitions that exist out there. Sustainable development is a buzzword which is being used in different occasions, different events, different articles, publication. But beyond that, it's one thing which I just always like to charge people is, what is that particular thing you are using currently? What is that particular thing that you're enjoying currently? And how are you managing that resource? How are you managing that particular material or life or particular environment in such a way that the next generation, the coming generation after you, can also enjoy it? So, and definitely there are some things which definitely exist in 2 decades away from here, 3 decades away from here, that do not exist again, that have gone into extinction. But sustainable development has come to ensure that we get to keep to a path in which the world gets to enjoy a equal and equally shared prosperity. And more importantly, our societies are very, very inclusive. And most importantly, we need to ensure that we protect the Mother Earth. We don't have planet B, and yes, it's very, very important for us to ensure that balance across board. And when you look at the evolution of sustainable development, this is something that I term into 40 different categories, and the very first part has to do with the early roots, which you can trace back to the 17th to 19th centuries, far back, whereby you have those different theories that that's really raised concern. Then the population was limited, was not that much then, but the truth is now the population is becoming more. However, natural resources is not increasing. So how are we ensuring that as the population is increasing, we are also getting to manage these natural resources? Then we have the next stage, which is basically before 1972. And we have the modern stage, which is between 1972 to 1987. That's where we have the Stockholm Conference. And the main focus then was more on environment and keeping the environment safe. And looking at the key aspects, which is the developing stage, and there are quite a lot of activities that have goal that has been, I mean, there are a lot of milestones that has been achieved, that has been established within this period. Yeah, and you know, we have the Agenda 21, we have the Millennium Development Goals. We are here talking about sustainable development. Last year, we had the Summit of the Future doing some further projection when it comes to the SDGs. And like I said, I'm just going to be taking my session very brief because definitely I know that I have limited time for this session. And I also want us to have very good time together. When you look at the MDGs and when you look at the SDGs, the question that comes to mind is, what's the difference? What is basically different? What makes these two development goals different? And I'm going to be sharing more light on that because when you look at the MDGs, it's quite different from the SDGs. And one critique then was the MDGs was forced on the developed countries, like the developing countries, you know, was forced on the global south. And, you know, it's an agenda that's mainly for the developing countries or underdeveloped countries. And looking at the formation process, it wasn't like the SDGs. So when you look at the SDGs, basically, I'm coming back to our presenter. I mean, I'm coming back to YouTube. I can see a lot of engagement on YouTube. And yeah, when you look at the aspect of the SDGs is very, very clear. And I'm still going to speak about what makes the SDGs special. But when you see SDG, I'm going back to my slide. So I'm just switching between screens. So I'm trying to keep up with the very important screen I'm to use. So when you look at MDG 1, MDG 1 is more focused on eradicating extreme poverty and hunger. And you can see that this goal needs to be, when you look at it at the SDGs, it was split, that's what was splitted. And now we have SDG 1 and we have SDG 2, zero hunger. And when you look at that's MDG 2, which is more focused on achieving universal primary education. That's what we have as quality education now. But you have MDG 3, 4, 5 encapsulated as SDG 5, SDG 3, good health and well-being. And I think that also includes MDG 6. And for MDG 7 is what we have as SDG 13, 14, and 15. But one thing remains inconsistent. That's the very last goal for these two development agendas, and that's partnership. We can't achieve any of this without partnership. There is a major role of partnership. There is a major role partnership comes to play when it comes to achieving the SDGs. And talking about the formation process, you know, there is a question that we always ask. I think maybe I should start giving you, it's not regional, it's just prep. I'm prepping you towards your assessment time when they ask you that when was the idea for, when did the formation of SDG, when did it commence? There are 3 questions that I can ask you regarding the commencement, and there's formation, when the formation began, and when the SDGs was adopted, and when the SDGs was being implemented, when we started implementing the SDGs. You know, there was a time that this question went out, that when did we start implementing the SDGs? A lot of people were saying September 2015. Yeah, it's wrong. The implementation started January 2016, not 2015. So, but the SDGs was adopted and launched in September 25, 2015 by the 193 member states of the United Nations. And talking more about the formation process, the formation process started at the Rio 20+ Summit in Brazil in 2012. And this took a 3-year process whereby the member states were reviewing, involving different categories of people. You know, this is one of those major qualities and principles of the SDGs, the participatory process. And that's one thing that makes it stand out than MDGs. And that's one thing that still makes the SDGs stand till today. So when you look at the participatory process, it's actually involved both the developing countries and developed countries. And there are quite a lot of review that are being done in between this process. So I'm just going to move on. And there is this question I always ask, but I'm going to skip this, but I will just drop it as a nugget for you that truly we all want change. Everyone wants a change, but nobody wants to change. You have to be the change that you wish to see in the world. Sustainable development starts from you. Sustainability starts from you. And when you talk about, oh, we are not achieving the SDGs, well, we are not on track, it's because each and every one of us are not doing the rightful things. So you need to ask yourself, what are you doing currently that advance the attainment of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development? The over 4,000 plus youths that are being accepted into these squads, imagine if each and every one of you take a particular goal and you identify a problem in your community, aligning it with a particular goal, and you get to solve that problem. Imagine imagine a progress. I'm going to show you some of the progress report from SDSN. It's a report that we publish every year, assessing each and every country when it comes to their development. I'm going to get there and share more info regarding that. But there is this part I always love to ask people, because that this really resonates with me, as we have each and every one of you as SDG advocates. At times people would say that, yes, I'm an SDG advocate or an SDG changemaker, whichever tag you want to call it. It's important to know which goal you stand for. So I'm going to ask that if you have the privilege to choose just one out of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which one would it be, and why does it really matter most to you? I mean, amongst the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, if you are to choose just one, you are not to choose two. So one thing I'm trying to communicate is, in this program, before the end of this program, you must have a major goal, which is your primary SDG of focus. You must have a major goal, which is your primary SDG of focus. So others might be secondary. So I want to say in the comment section, which of those goals, and why does it really matter to you? Okay, Ayomiku said 30. Why is SDG 3, Ayomiku? I would love to hear that. Oh, I've seen them. That's Martha Chisom. You're saying SDG 4, 5, and 10. It can't be 4, 5, and 10. It has to be just one out of these three you mentioned. So the idea is your primary goal might be 5, and definitely it's connecting to 4 and 10. So I want to look for someone else now who has been able to define his own very well. And so why does this goals really matter to you? I can see a lot of people saying, okay, thank you very much, Joseph. Joseph said quality education. Oh, I'm missing that already. Okay, I've gotten it. It's extremely essential. It facilitates economic growth and promotes knowledge of sustainable development. So now, Joseph said quality education because it facilitates economic growth. So if you ask me which goal is focused on economic growth, there is a goal focused on economic growth. That is goal 8, SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. That means Joseph's primary goal of interest is quality education, SDG 4. However, the fact that he's working on SDG 4 is getting to also advance SDG 8 indirectly or directly. And he also mentioned promotes knowledge of sustainable development. So that's those are key things which we also ensure. Okay, Tijeri said sustainable cities and community, that is SDG 11, matters to me as an architect who is concerned about making built environments sustainable, inclusive, livable, and safe. Thank you very much, architects. Yeah, because now you guys, you do, not you guys now, sorry, using that word. We see a lot of developers now that, they destroy and they don't have, they just clear the whole expanse of land without plan to also ensure that they, not just you planting another tree, because those trees, when they were planted 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So it's very important we also ensure that as you are getting to build, we are also ensuring that the environment is more safe and very livable. Thank you very much for that. I'm trying to see one other person. Climate, I know we never find climate, we will never find it difficult to see climate action. We see a lot of people doing climate action, but that's very good. You must drive it well and ensure that it's making impact. Okay, Tiger Billy said food security because it complements CSR of my restaurants. Okay, that's still focused on SDG 2. And I'm trying to check more content, more responses. But yeah, these are very notable things which I really love each and every one of you that you shared. But in all of this, it's important for you to have a very good knowledge and a very good understanding of what what each of the goals stands for. And also understand, I mentioned a part of me discussing more about the goals, talking about the targets and indicators. So, when they ask people how many SDGs do we have, how many targets, how many indicators? Oh, we have 17 SDGs, we have 169 targets. Some will say 230 indicator, some will say 232, some will say 233. But I think I'm just going to dive into that more deeply, just for us to understand. We have more than 240 indicators, ideally. We have in total of 241 indicators, basically. And when you look at the indicators, across those indicators, we have some of them that are repeated, that are quite similar. So take, for example, when you check, that's the indicator 8.4.1, it's similar to indicator that's 12.2.1. So when you count them, they are counted as just one indicators. That's where you see on the right publication 230 plus indicator. So when you check all the indicators, they are all 230, but when you count them across the 169 targets, they are 241. So I always love to correct this whenever I speak around the concept of SDGs. But when we talk about these goals, targets, and indicators, it's important for each and every one of you to understand what the goals are. And it goes beyond knowing just the goals. The question is, do you know the targets under each of those goals? Do you know what indicators that are being used to measure each of those targets? So when you say that you stand for SDG 4, I'm trying to, I don't want to be switching my screen again. I'm trying to look around and just paint a very simple scenario. When you say that you want to train, you are focusing on out of school children, definitely there's a target that speaks to that. And there is an indicator that helps to measure, to ensure that that target is being achieved for you getting to provide solution for out of school children. So it's just like maybe at the beginning of the year, you have your New Year resolution, and at each and every point, okay, I need to remind yourself, you have to go back to your diary. I haven't been able to measure. Definitely you say that, oh, I want to become more professional. I want to become more professional in my space. So you becoming more professional in your space, that means there must be so number of professional courses you must enroll for in this 2025. You must have enrolled for. So right from January now, this is August, you need to ask yourself how many courses. The target is, okay, I want to have 5 professional courses, and I also want to enroll for my MSc. So, and you using your indicators to measure, it should be that by the end of December 2025, you have completed 5 professional courses across so sectors. So it's as simple as that. So the way the 17 Sustainable Development Goals are designed, each goal has its own target and it also has its own indicators. I'm going to be, I think I would love to share this. It's something I always love to share so that I'm not just speaking to it all alone. I would love to see this. And it's something you can also have access to. And that has to do with, just a minute, please. Let me stop. That has to do with the various indicators and the various targets under the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So we use SDG 4 as a case study now. So when you go to sdgs.un.org, you're going to see the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and the targets for each goals are quite different. When you see Goal 1, you can see Goal 1 has 7 targets, Goal 2 has 18 targets, Goal 3 has 13 targets, and Goal 10 has 13 targets. There are some targets that were focused towards 2020. There are some that are 2023. That's the mid-year point, and more of those targets are focused on 2030. So Goal 4 now, which is quality education, ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education, and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. So we are going, or let's check it out and see what the targets and indicators for Goal 4 is. So when you check here, you see the various targets that we have for Goal 4. And one of those targets, just a minute, let me see if I'm there. Okay, that's not where I want actually. Just a minute, please. Okay, so now for SDG 4, the very first target is by 2030, ensure that all girls and boys complete free, equitable, quality primary and secondary school education leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes. So that's the very first target, target 4.1. And under this SDG 4, we have quite a number of targets. We have another target which speaks to men and women. That's ensuring equal access for all men and women to affordable and quality technical, vocational, tertiary education, including university. So when we check for this target 4.3, what are the indicators that are going to be used to measure this? And that's the participation rate of youth and adults in formal and non-formal education and training in the previous 12 months by sex. That's either by male or gender. So how many youths have been able to complete a formal education, not formal education, maybe a vocational training in the past 12 months. So there are always data. I know that's one of our major gaps in Nigeria. And if you're a data scientist, it's a new, that's the new oil when it comes to SDG data. So I'm going to the first target, which says by 2030, we are ensuring that all girls and boys complete free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education leading to relevant and effective learning outcome. When you come here, you're going to see two indicators that are being used to measure that. And in fact, there are it's quite numerous under this, because the very first part of it is knowing the proportion of children and young people in grades 2, 3, and at the end of primary, at the end of lower secondary, achieving at least a minimum proficiency level in reading and also in mathematics and by sex. Then the second type indicator is completion rates of primary education, lower secondary education, and upper secondary education, what we know as junior secondary and senior secondary in Nigeria. So if we want to evaluate Nigeria based on target 4.1 now, and to say that we've ensured that every girls and boys in Nigeria have completed a free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education, which has led to relevant and effective learning outcome. Then we come to, what's the completion rate? How many boy child, how many girl child have completed, and what is their minimum proficiency level? So, the grading systems in primary and secondary school, what it looks like. Then we have quite a lot of these indicators across the SDGs. And these are key things which I want each and every one of you to go and check out and learn more on. So when you have the major SDG and you have your premier SDG of interest, it's not just enough to say that I'm innovating for SDG 8 or innovating for SDG 9. Go and check SDG 9. What are the targets under SDG 9 and how does it align to what I'm doing? So, and what are the indicators that are being measured? Then even when you are presenting and you are saying that, my project, which is on renewable energy, speaks to SDGs 7.5. So it's not like, when you say SDG 7.5, people will be so inquisitive to like, what's SDG 7? That means you really know that what you're doing, the main focus which you're looking at when it comes to sustainable energy. So this is an assignment I'm giving to each and every one of you. You have to go on that platform and check. I think there has been a document that was shared with you that lists out all these targets across and all the indicators. So let me run back to my presentation slide. I have just less than 20 minutes and we are not started, but it's fine. I'm sure we're going to cover up and we're going to cover up. That's fine. So going back to this, like I said, these goals are very quite interconnected. And that will lead me to the next slide, which is what makes the SDGs special. I've mentioned the participatory process and how it's been universally applicable. Then we said the MDGs was just for the global south, developing countries. However, these SDGs definitely has removed that dichotomy of developing or developed. And it does not leave any country behind, and notwithstanding what your socioeconomic status or geographical location is. Then I've spoken about the formation process. The formation process was a very participatory one, and it was an unparalleled participatory policy. That's one of the first and largest unparalleled participatory policy process held by the United Nations. And we also have the inclusiveness. This does not leave anyone behind. Whichever group you belong to, maybe you're a male, you're a female, and it does not leave anyone behind. And that's why we're also more concerned about the indigenous community, the PWD, people with disabilities, and ensuring that they are part of the development process. And one thing which we also have to know is the SDGs are interconnected. The attainment of one leads to the attainment of the other. So one of you rightly mentioned the other time that he said he is more concerned about quality education because that leads to economic growth. And when you talk about that leading to economic growth, that's also going to help to achieve no poverty in one way or the other. When the economy is growing and the population, the society are inclusive, then in one way or the other, we have going to have poverty reduction. Yeah, so this slide, basically, I'm just going to briefly speak about it because I still have so much slides to share. And this has to do with the dimensions and the pillars of sustainable development. When you look at the dimensions, we have three major dimensions, and sometimes we call it the three-legged stool. And the first one is economic sustainability, social sustainability, and environmental sustainability. For each and every one of you, you should also know which of these category you fall to based on your SDG of interest. So if you are the type of person that your project is focused on maybe quality education, or your project is focused on good health and well-being, you are within the social space, and maybe your project is focused on life underwater, life on land, that means your project is within the environmental sustainability aspect. But each of these has its own way which we get to measure it. Just a minute, please. Okay, so each of these has the way which there are various ways which we get to measure them. And when you look at the pillars of sustainable development, we have the 5 Ps, which are the main thematic areas whereby we talk about people, we talk about the planet, we talk about peace. I always say this, that there can be, without peace, we cannot achieve sustainable development. And there is no sustainable development without peace. There is no peace without sustainable development. And one of the global trends now, when it comes to association amongst different countries, you see a lot of peace movement and many people getting to focus. I think within the last few years, we've had some, even in Nigeria, let's use the Boko Haram issue in the northern part as an example. You know how many schools that were closed because of that issue. And even to date, there are communities that there are no schools as we speak. And in all of these, there are ways, these are things which we need to be more intentional as SDG advocates. And the other part has to focus on prosperity. But in all of this, there is one key thing which I really want to quickly talk about, because when we talk about achieving sustainable development, there are quite a number of goals and there are quite a number of targets that we've spoken about. But what are the major key levelers? One of those key levelers that will help us to accelerate the attainment of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, one of those key things is good governance. Good governance does not start from, I'm going to play a video in the course of my presentation that speaks to this good governance, and you understand what it really means. Because when we talk about good governance, many of us, we're going to target to governments. Across our institutions, across our household, across our religious organizations, good governance. Then economy and finance, there has been a lot of call on funding for in accelerating sustainable development. Then individual and collective action. It does not. Yes, exactly. Individual and collective action is another key thing which is very, very important. And when you look at individual and collective action, it's just like I mentioned the other time that we have over 4,500 of you on this call. Imagine if you all have a particular problem which you are solving, imagine if you have a particular project which you are doing, you know what that is going to lead to. And when you are also solving your problem, we're in the digital world now. Science and technology has come to play. We have digital revolution. How are you using digital technology to advance the SDGs? And we also talk about capacity building. And I think this SDG transformation, it was developed by Sustainable Development Solutions Network some years back, which focus that says that if we can achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, however, we achieve this 6 transformation, then we are on the path of achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And the next thing I will quickly show you, I think this is really going to blow our mind. It's the status of our progress, but I'm going to focus more on Nigeria. I think for the last 5 years now, I've been tracking the progress of Nigeria when it comes to advancing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. If Nigeria is not 143, Nigeria will be 145. If Nigeria is not 145, Nigeria is going to be 147. And the question is, what are we really doing wrong? Because there was a time I shared something on the leaders group, and one of the team leads said, this data is not true because Nigerians are really doing a lot, and truly Nigerians are doing a lot, but we still have a lot of missing data. So when you look at the progress of Nigeria as a country, we are still far behind. And looking at our index, 54.7, that's 54.7%. That means we still have maybe like 46.3, which we are not performing well. But let's even look into the goals in detail. We have 17 Sustainable Development Goals. From the last report of the Global Sustainable Development Report by the SDG Transformation Center of SDSN, this shows that Nigeria is making progress, has achieved one of the SDGs out of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And the major goal which we have here is responsible consumption and production. And another key one, which is still quite similar to that we are having moderate progress, has to do with reducing inequalities, life on land, and also we have partnership for the goals. But when you see these red ones, I always call them the danger zone. But the fact that they are the danger zone, I think they should be key projects, that these are key areas we should be focusing more on. And I think I won't say that here, because like this report said that Nigeria is making good progress, we are moderately improving, and we are achieving SDG 12. That doesn't mean that we should stop innovating around responsible consumption and production, but I think youth should stop. We are seeing a lot of youth that are doing a lot around recycling, upcycling, circular economy. However, there are other goals which you can still focus on that we still have a large gap. And look at this: goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, and 16. So these are major areas which we really need to focus on. And I think, I mentioned something about data the other time, information not being available, which is also a major gap in Nigeria as we speak. I think Professor Patrick Ward shared more about SDG Academy last week, whereby you can learn more on what they do. You can learn, I think as part of this program as well, there are going to be some courses that will be shared with you. You can go on SDG Academy. It's important. You must complete at least 3 courses, on SDG Academy. So we're going to share like 15 courses with you, but it's important you complete like 3 out of all the 15 that will be shared with you. So this is where I'm coming to, and I would also love each and every one of you to speak to this. we have this common thought that some set of people are mainly responsible for achieving sustainable development. So I'm asking each and every one of you on the call, who do you think has a major role in accelerating the SDGs? Is it the government? Is it the private sector? Is it the CSO? Is it the religious organization? Is it the schools, universities, and across different research institutions? Or is it the youth that has a major role in achieving the SDGs? I would like to read in the comment section. Just drop your answer in the comment section. I would like to read right away. Okay. Just a minute. Let me see if I can also get a comment of each and every one. Who has a major role in advancing the SDGs? Let me check. I know there has been a lot of comment here. Okay, let's have it. Okay, I can see someone saying you and hi. All right. The youth. Okay, someone said youth, CSO, everyone. You can't be everyone. It starts from someone. It starts from a particular. It can't be everyone, not news. So, goodness, it can't be everyone. Let's be sincere with ourselves. And that's why we are here. So Walika Bliss said the people, everyone. But why am I saying youth? Oh, thank you. Shitubado said government. Victoria said, I believe the government has. Betty said the government. I can see Bertha Benjamin said university. Favor said everyone have a major role. The youth. Why are we all saying the youth? Okay, I wish I could hear some of us speak directly to that. And I want to say that, yes, achieving the SDGs absolutely starts with each and every one. But more importantly, okay, I can see someone saying religious organization. So I would love to share a video. It's just for us to, I would love us to quickly watch that video. And that is going to provide more detailed context to this question. Who the person who has a major role in achieving the SDGs. And each and every one of you, I just don't mind. It's not in, the video is not in English, but don't mind. I would just want you to watch through and see through the video. I want to believe you can see my screen. Please, the technical and programs team, I will appreciate if you can confirm that, if you can see my screen.
सर आपके लिए उस पार कार का इंतजाम किया है सर आइए सर चल जाओ बोला क्या बात करता है क्या ऊपर से जाएगा क्या ऊपर से जा
गया मेन शो
I hate this country. कुछ करो ना।
अब मैं वहां जाके क्या उखाड़ लूंगा?
कैसी जाने बूंदे आई जाने कैसा दर्द लाई सामने क्या है ये तेरे क्यों रुका है तू बता रे हो कौन तुझको पार लेगा कौन होगा वो मसीहा जिसे तू ढूंढता है वो ही है तू वही है तुझ में तेरा रास्ता है तुझ में तेरा है सहारा तू ही तुझको पार लेगा तू ही है तेरा किनारा रास्ता है, तुझ में तेरा है सहारा, तू ही तुझको पार लेगा, तू ही है तेरा किनारा। जिसे ढूंढता है तू ही रे, तू ही रे, तू ही रे तेरा मसीहा हो।
Okay. I believe we all saw that video that was just played now. And I just want to ask you what's your takeaway from that video. You can drop it in the comment section. Yeah, you can drop it in the comment section. What's your takeaway? Thank you very much, Karian. You said the change starts with you. And I just want to use that word that's he wrote. I want you to write in the comment section, the change starts with me. I want you to put it in the comment section. This change starts with me. Sorry, Balikisu said, why is this video making me emotional? You have to be emotional. If you watched this video and it didn't make you emotional, you really didn't watch it. Yeah, the change starts with you. It starts with each and every one of you. And the idea is there are quite a lot of which we are hoping for. We are waiting for the government to do. But truthfully, the government is not going to do it if you keep waiting till tomorrow. The change, the development we are looking towards to achieve starts with you, each and every one of you on this call. So if tomorrow, if by 2030 we are going to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, it starts with each and every one of you on this call. And that being said, in driving your ideas, in driving your innovation, there are processes to it which you need to follow. And I'm just going to be using the next 5 minutes to quickly dive into that. What are those key things that you need to ensure? What are those practical steps that you need to ensure whereby you can align your local action, your individual action, and accelerate the 2030 agenda? It's as very simple. The very first thing is, what is the problem that exists in your community? I'm sorry to say this, a lot of people are very fast. We are very vast. We are experts in criticizing, in condemning, in seeing things that are not working well. In as much as you can see something that is not working well, then that means you have a solution. You have $1 billion solution at hand. In as much as you see insecurity as big as it is, then you have a great opportunity to make it in life. Why not stop criticizing? Why not stop condemning? You know, there are quite a lot of, recently we've been having issues, we've been hearing in the news, different sagas from JAM to NECO to WAEC. What are Nigerian youths doing? Are you saying that you can come up with a technological solution that will help solve those issues? We talk about insecurity. Recently, I saw a video from some guys in Abuja. I wish I could play their video. Now, what they do is they are developing drones. They are exporting drones right from Nigeria. Not like they are importing drones. And what they are ensuring is by, when I heard their targets, I was like, wow. What are you waiting for? So what's the problem in your community? The problem in your community is enough for you to use to provide solution. And this can create a lot of opportunity for you. But when you are creating and when you're identifying, when I teach design thinking, there is this part which I always talk about. The first phase of design thinking is empathy. You get to empathize. You hear from the audience, the users, conduct need assessment. Don't sit in the comfort of your house and think that, oh, I want to help young teenagers that are out of school. Maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a fundraising and see how I can put them in school and buy clothes, buy bags, buy notepad for them. Believe me, you're going to do that, but within the next 1 or 2 months, you are still going to see them on the streets. Because the fact that they are on the street is not their right, it's not their wish. Let me use the word wish, it's not their wish. Definitely there is someone controlling them. There are communities that do not believe that their girl child should go to school. There are some families, there are some households that do not believe that their boy child should go to school. They believe that, oh, they should go to farm, they should work. So the real problem doesn't lie with those boys or those girls. It lies with their parents or their guardians. So those who you are going to meet, who you are going to provide solution for, is not just those boys, it's their parents or their guardians. So it's very, very important you also conduct your needs assessment. Don't just sit down, even if you are designing a product or a project, don't just sit down and think that, oh, this is what is going to work, this is what they need. And secondly, when you are designing, it's very important for you to, like I said, in as much as you can identify that problem, it makes it easy for you to develop a scalable and innovative solution. Your solution doesn't need to be new. There are a lot of ideas, there are a lot of products that exist out there in other African countries. I think it's also time we stop copying the developed countries. I mean, I'm very sincere and very concerned about that. We need to be more indigenous this time around. When you talk about circular economy, innovation, when we talk about renewable energy, agri-tech solutions and all of that, there are quite a lot of solutions which you can get to build. And more importantly, start small and scale gradually. Never despise the place of little beginning. You know, most of the projects that fails are projects that you didn't grow from scratch. There are some people that did not grow their projects from scratch. They could start very big because they've functioned on that, they've served on that similar project. Maybe you served an organization on a renewable energy project for over 15 years, then you can start very big. But if you know that you don't have that experience, you've not done that before, start small, launch small, and gradually make it become bigger, expand over time. And the fourth thing is build partnership. These practical steps, you can call it the 10 commandments. You know, it's something that you need to ensure. Build partnerships. Don't do it alone. Don't work alone. Don't live life alone. One of my mentors, Reverend, will always say, don't live life alone. There is nothing you are doing. I always say this, that no matter how clear a vision is to you, it's not meant to be achieved alone. No matter how clear the vision and the goal of your organization is, it's not meant to be achieved alone. Leave out the context of you being the founder of that organization. In fact, I was telling some of my leads now that I don't want to see any title on my name. I'm nobody. It's we are all the one doing this. So if you see any success or if you see any of our success story, or maybe anyone is saying, oh, SDSN are doing great things, SDSN in Nigeria are doing great, you know, ADEV Africa are doing great things. It's not Emmanuel Aoluwayo. It's some certain set of people that are coming together, collaborating together, working together. And you don't need to also, sometimes when you are getting to build collaboration and you are forming partnership with people, maybe you want to have co-founder, you want to have this and that on a particular project, please also ensure you document it. Let there be a legal binding on that. I'll move to the next one, which has to do with digital technology. You have to make use of technology. We are in this digital revolution. There are a lot of AI, there are a lot of digital technology tools that are out there that can even make you become more productive. Leverage technology. And also capacity building. You have to learn. You have to also learn over and over and over again. When I mentioned it the other time that some of you said you are 10 over 10. Even myself, I won't say I'm 10 over 10 when it comes to SDGs. I keep learning over and over again. This seventh thing is very important as well. As change makers, it's important you engage in community service. If I'm going to ask each and every one of you that are on this call, right from January till today now, have you planted a tree? How many trees have you planted? Or have you been part of any cleanup activity in your state? You don't need to convince such. You can look out for organization. What cleanup day is coming in October? I know a lot of organization, Recycle Edge, what's the name now? Solstice Vibes, African Cleanup Initiative. A lot of people are going to be doing cleanup activities across the states. Volunteer for them. Take pictures, post it online. When people are checking your track record, they will see this because definitely it's one thing they will use to assess you. Then, more importantly, choose sustainable lifestyle. Sustainable lifestyle. Or are you the type? I'm going to challenge. Are you the type of person that maybe you're driving, you are inside that bus and you just wind down, you just throw down and throw out that plastic bottle? Or you're the type of person that when you consume one, or you even avoid consuming, and you go around with your refillable water bottle, or you're the type of person that felt like, oh, I'm going for an event and I have my other colleagues that are going for that event. Do you even call them that, oh, let's all park our cars, let's just carpool? Out of maybe 3 of us going to that event, we can pick each other up and drop off each other. Than 3 of you driving to that event and contributing to carbon emission. It's very, very important. I hope maybe in one of our weekly engagements, Mayowa and the other programs team, there is a link which we're going to share with you for you to measure your carbon footprint. I think you'll be challenged by that as well. Then the 9 and 10 points, develop power skills, which is very important. Communication, leadership, negotiation, empathy. These are key things you need to ensure. And lastly, is you getting to monitor and evaluate your progress and communicate, tell good stories. Many times youths are very prone to running projects, executing projects, and they find it difficult to do a good report and conduct a good evaluation, impact reports, and not to talk about telling the stories of their projects. If you tap your name on google.com, what is it going to bring? You might not be able to do that right away, but it's another assignment I'm giving you. Go to google.com, type your full name there. What is it going to bring? Type your organization there. What is it going to bring? Is it telling us any of your success stories? We are not talking about you in yourself. It's about you having a digital footprint. Because, Chevney application is out now. Commonwealth will be out very soon. The reason why you've been rejected so many times is because they couldn't find your success story. They couldn't find any impact you've made in your community. So I'm challenging each and every one of you. With these 10 commandments I've shared with you, I believe it's going to help you to innovate. It's going to help you to align your actions in advancing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. I think I'm going to stop right here as we get to take questions. And like I said, each and every one of us has a role to play in this journey. It doesn't leave anyone behind. And no matter the conditions you have, you can do something. No matter the even with that little amount, you don't need to have ₦1 million. You don't need to have 10 million naira before you execute that project. You start small from the little you have, get it done, collaborate with others, look for all external hands to support. And when you are reaching out, when you are collaborating, I was going to mention this for some of you that are running projects, and when you want to work on that particular project, the first set of people you reach out to is maybe the state government. You are ready to fail. It's dead on arrival. So there are categories of people you should engage with in your local government, even within your network, that can support you. Then from there, when you have tangible results, you can get to start engaging with those top organizations and government agencies. Thank you once again for having me lead this very good session, and I'll be happy to take 1 or 2 questions because I know we should be up to the time to have our second facilitator for today. Over to you, Okoye.
Wow, that was such a detailed and eye-opening session. Sustainability begins from within, begins from me, begins from you, begins from us. As someone who has participated in quite a few programs, I have to say, Mr. Emmanuel's session was basically, I haven't come across such a uniquely broad yet insightful explanation of this topic. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel, for bringing such clarity and depth to this important discussion. Your work and dedication in driving sustainable development across Africa, mentoring young leaders, and creating impactful programs is truly remarkable. If you have any questions, please submit them in the chat box and I'll read them out for you. Okay, so for those asking if the slides will be shared after the program, yes, after every session, the slides that facilitators use will be shared in the group chats. So any other question, please send your questions to the chat box. Okay, people are still asking about the slides. Slides will be shared, don't worry. So we just need questions relating to the topic discussed. Okay, we have a question. We have a question from Christina Hassan. Thank you for the question. I'll read it out now. Your question is, how can you collaborate with government to carry out a project? So she's basically asking how she can, if they share the program example, she said an example is SDG Club in school. How can she collaborate with government to carry out a project? Would you like to answer that, sir?
Okay, I'm going to speak from the context of the last thing I said. So you want to carry out a project in school and you want to collaborate with the government, and I want to assume your SDG club in your respective institution. I hope you can hear me loud and clear because I'm using headset now. I will advise you not to start with the government, but if you want to start with the government, don't go directly on your own. You can write through your Dean of Students. You can first write to have an acceptance with your Dean of Students or your university management, since you're a registered student club in your university. Then your university can write on your behalf. I don't know, maybe you get what I'm saying. I'm very sure your Dean of Students will be ready to do that for you if they see the tangible impact of what you want to get done. But for government, there is a particular set of, there is one ministry that is still very flexible that you can always work with. You can always work with the Ministry of Youth. So maybe that's one major MDA you can get to work with. And another thing you can also look out for is look out for the focal person that's in charge of SDGs in your states. I know we are trying to put those information together in SDSN, whereby each and every one of you can also have that information and you can have their email and contact number. But while we get to put all of those information together, it's something you can still search across the respective states. Who is the focal person that is in charge of SDGs? And these are people that you can just write a courtesy visit letter to. Don't send a partnership request, send a courtesy visit partnership letter to them and get to meet them one-on-one. And when you are going, please dress well. That's important because appearance too matter most. And two, don't go alone. have at least like 2-3 people that are going alongside with you. When they see you, they will be happy. And when you share your vision with them, they'll be ready to support you. But please, government process sometimes can be, it can be boring. Let me use that word. And sometimes you might, the kind of response, they have their own chain of command. I'm not going to put long in front, but they have their own bureaucratic process. So that process, I know youth want something to happen. You submitted your request. Someone might be asked, send me a DM. I need the recommendation letter. And you want me to write that recommendation letter that same day. So that's the kind of youth we have in Nigeria. So you have to be patient. So when your project is maybe like a week ahead or a month, don't reach out to them at all, because they have to take authorization or approval from one director or the other. So it's a long chain of command. And I believe with this, which I've mentioned, it's going to help you strategically to achieve your project. Thank you once again. Yeah, Farida, I'm done.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Yes, thank you, sir. We have another question from Okwayemi Deborah, who says, how can we contribute to the report in order to progress the SDG goals in Nigeria?
Okay, how can we contribute to the report in order to progress in the SDG goals in Nigeria? I was having a discussion with one of my leads recently. I told him to start a project named SDG Data Bank. And what it is I think is from the field of statistics, and he has more expertise in that. I said, don't do any other thing, just focus on that alone. And we have 17 goals. The way it works is there are some goals that does not have we don't even have any data record on it, data set on it at all. You can say that what I just want to look at is renewable energy, looking at rural communities. How many rural communities, the number of local governments we have. In fact, local government might be very big enough. You start from your own community to say that in my state, this is the number of local governments we have. You can carry out a survey to write on that and ensure you publish it. Sometimes that is to the aspect of academic and research working across our respective tertiary institutions. I know people just carry out those research work and it end up in the library. So are you publishing? So these are little things which you can get to contribute to. And at SDSN Nigeria, we are also working on a project that's Nigerian Sustainable Development Report, which, the one I showed you the other time measures the progress of each and every countries. What we are looking at is also to measure the performance of each and every state in line to the SDGs. So if you are open, we'll be glad to have you carry out some survey across your respective states as well. So I think that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. We have just one last question. We have a lot of people having questions because I'm sure because of the broadness of the topic. However, I will not be able to take everyone's questions, so we'll just streamline it to 3. So the question here is for Maxwell Madugu. He's asking, in your experience, what's the most effective way for an SDG advocate to create measurable impact in their local community within the program's timeline?
Okay, the best way to create a measurable impact in your community is to start by asking people around, what exactly is the problem that exists in this community? You might identify a problem, but you might not be the one solving the problem. I remember there was a guy that reached out to me that there's a community in Oyo State that do not have access to water. Do you know what I told him? I said he was looking forward to see how they can how you can engage one of people to provide maybe borrow and all of that. I said, come, you are not rich enough to do that, but you have something that you can leverage on. Go and use that too. I told him, I said, document a story on that problem. Do some interviews with the community dwellers. Put it on social media. Believe me, he did that, and he actually tweeted it. And he actually tagged the governor of the state, he tagged the ministry, maybe works and all of that. And within 48 hours, there was a response from one development agency in that state that they will be happy to look up into that community. It's as simple as that. Social media, the power of social media. It's not about TikTok videos alone. You can even do TikTok videos and still make impact. You can do Instagram videos and make impact. So how are you making use of the social media platform? And another strategic way is, if you want to run the project on your own, you can still identify that particular problem and ensure you look out for leaders in that community that you know that you can express yourself to. I might not really have time to share my experience with you because I've done something similar to this. And, it's a problem I discovered that I feel this should not be, but I don't have the money. So, we are always saying that, yes, the older generation are leading there, but the truth is we need the older generation for real. We need their resources. The youth have the energy. They have that futuristic ability to think far and, they are to drive that solution. So when you've been able to identify that particular problem in your community, look out for leaders, elderly people that they can help you influence. They can speak to one or two people that, this is what this guy is trying to work on. This is what this group of people are trying to work on. Can you please assist them? And please, don't claim ownership. One thing that we always fail at some point is when we are running projects, we are too fast of claiming ownership that, it's my project. I'm the one that did this project. I want to be known. I'm the one that did that. The project will never, eventually you won't be able to carry it out. Let them have ownership of the project. You just be the architect of the project. Be the one guiding and, this is what I designed to be. This is how I designed it to be. And you can even create your 3D or, your architectural design, your 3D or mock-up for that particular project. And at the end of it all, when they establish the project, when they commission it, they won't say that it's also set of elder statesmen that came up with that particular project. They will say that it's you that came up with the idea and we're able to get funds from so-so set of people or so-so organization to execute the projects. On the long run, that project will still, the success story is still going to be on your name. But please, don't claim ownership. Let people have that sense of belonging, sense of ownership with you. That, yes, we own this project together and we are working on it together. From there, you achieve what you want to do. I believe that, we can always connect and engage. I know social media, it's always work for me sometimes because I still have a lot of projects I'm running. Today, we have another program for 2 p.m. Evening, I still have another training session for educators across 3 states. But I will always respond when you reach out to me or when you reach out to me on WhatsApp or LinkedIn, whichever one. Thank you once again for having me. I'm glad to run this session with the esteemed advocate and change makers we have on this call. Bye for now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. We are grateful to have you and we look forward to putting all you have taught us into practice. Can I get some appreciation emojis in the group in the YouTube for Mr. Emmanuel? Let's see you appreciate him. He has gone through a lot. His slide was very detailed. He told us about SDG target and indicators, SDG transformation and key levers. Let me see. I'm not seeing as many. I want as the effort he used into explaining it to us. I want to see as much reactions emoji wise. He even showed us a very emotional video I was just like, wow, this is so. So please let me see your emojis. Where are the emojis? Let's see that you are here before we go into the next session. Perfect, great. Thank you very much. Okay, so I will now go into welcoming our second facilitator, Mr. Dr. Achibong Akpan. Dr. Achibong Akpan is a lecturer in geography and natural resources at the University of Uyo, Nigeria. Holding a PhD in climatology with over 12 years of experience in climate policy, education, and sustainable development. He has collaborated with UN Climate Change, ECOWAS Commission, the World Bank, and Save the Children Australia, contributing to policies and programs that promote climate resilience, gender equality, and just energy transitions. His expertise spans climatology, risk assessment, and policy advisory, combining technical knowledge with actionable strategies for climate adaptation and sustainable practices across national, regional, and global skills. He'll be facilitating the session on climate change and renewable energy. Dr. Akpan, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Dad, and to everyone on the call. I really appreciate the last facilitator, Ms. Emmanuel. Well done. So, actually, my apologies. I've been quite busy of late, like running around a lot of policies. I just came back from Abia State doing developing the Abia State climate change policy. So it has been very busy combining it with academic work. So my slides might not be too flashy. I don't know. It might not be too flashy like the one of Mr. Emmanuel, because I didn't have much time to start preparing them. But of course, the most important thing is giving you a good presentation and making sure that we are up to speed on the climate change in the country, and also we try to drive renewable policy, renewable energy programs, since Nigeria is shifting to net zero by 2060. So I don't know, probably I should send this slide to Fadirat, or should I share directly from here? Is that okay?
Yes, please. You can share directly.
Okay. Sorry. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I won't spend much of a time, but we will try to discuss climate change, renewable energy in Nigeria, the opportunities, challenges, pathways to sustainability. But I must really commend the Sustainable Development Network for putting up this masterclass, because it's really important for us, not just as scientists, but for everyone in the country. We need to really understand climate change, the science behind it, and the root causes, and where we can, at our own capacity, to provide solutions. So if you see the screen, that is a renewable solar panel grid. So when we be talking about energy, because we know already what energy means. Of course, we use energy to do work. We use our energy to heat our rooms, to cool up our environment, cool up our rooms. So it comes in different forms and of different types. So, but since we will be talking more of renewable energy, so we have different forms of energy. The one that comes from non-renewable energy sources, the one that comes from renewable energy sources. So the ones that are non-renewable are those ones that will be used up, that are not replenished. So we got those ones from coal, gas, those kind of energy that we get from coal. Of course, from coal, we now have petroleum, we now have diesel and every other product that comes from coal. So those ones are non-renewable energy sources, which, of course, coupled with the growing population, will be exhausted in no distant time. But since the world is now shifting towards sustainability, so that informed us the way we need to manage our energy systems, the way we need to, the importance of divesting from the non-renewable energy sources to more efficient and renewable energy sources. So some decades ago, the renewable energy sources have come to limelight, and Nigeria being Africa's most populated country, of course, has to key into the renewable energy sources. So one of it is the solar energy, the one that comes from the sun. So we've been using the hydropower, which is the ones that's gotten from the Kainji Dam, and the energy, the electricity that we generate, that is, we are getting it from water, from hydro, so we have water. So those ones are not enough. So there's this thing that we call energy mix. So we need to combine the different sources of energy to make sure that we have a reliable and cleaner energy production. So aside from solar energy, we also have wind energy. So those ones are being generated by the wind. So we use the wind turbines to generate that kind of energy. So we also have the geothermal energy. That one is gotten directly from the heat from the beneath the earth crust. That one is, you have to do a whole lot of prospecting to get the heat. Then the heat can be transformed to energy. Then another type is the biomass. So those ones, of course, fairly renewable, fairly non-renewable. Those ones involve burning of crops, like for instance maize, sorghum, to generate the energy. So plants like, I used to call it plants like energy sources. So we also have the nuclear. Of course, there's a growing debate whether nuclear should be a non-renewable energy or whether it should be a renewable energy. But the scientists have not yet concluded on that. So it's either they can use nuclear to in a more friendly usage. Of course, we tend to term it renewable. So there are other countries that are using it to cause pollution, like toxic waste and all of that from the nuclear plant. So those ones, they are not managing it properly. So it could still be a non-renewable energy sources. So, and it's not really sustainable. But in the whole, the most important thing is seeing how we can combine all of this energy, all of these renewable energy sources, so it meets the growing demand for energy, and and is more reliable. So I will take us to the next slide. I've already discussed a whole lot about this. The renewable energy matters for Nigeria. Nigeria during COP27, that was in Egypt, 2022. Nigeria, of course, we are on ground, to support the global energy transition, strategies in line with the Paris goal. So during the efforts of the former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, that led that team to position the country in terms of designing the energy transition plan. Of course, that is a national strategy to decarbonize the energy sector and to also help us to achieve net zero emissions by 2060. That is Nigeria's target. And again, I think all of this thing really requires funding, but that was a good platform. That was a good entry point for the former vice president to do. And so far, so good. Other organizations like the World Bank, the Sustainable Energy for All have also been supporting the initiative by, I think the first investment was about 10 billion USD dollar, to actually transition Nigerian's energy sector to renewable energy sources. So the importance of energy, of course, climate change has really caused a lot of agriculture, reduced yields, energy, the environment, flooding, heat stress, and all of that. And there are lots of diseases that are being spread as a result of, the impact of climate change. So this is the energy mix. So over 80% of electricity from oil and gas, So that raises a concern because we are really dependent on oil and gas, which is from fossil fuel, and it's also adding to the global warming potentials that we have. So it's not really helping us a lot. The diesel reliance, most of the government offices, they are burning diesels. Commercial stores, markets, they are burning, petroleum, the PMS. So it's not really helping us a lot. So you have dependence on coal, dependence on oil and gas. And even our grid, most times the grid collapses as a result of climate change. So the renewable energy sources, of course, is growing just like every other country, but at the global north, of course, is growing. But here in Nigeria, we are still trying to, to make significant impact towards that direction. So this is the solar, of course, from the solar energy. This is what we can get from, the amount of energy that we can get per day. Of course, I know one good thing about solar is it's during the dry periods here in Nigeria, we get a significant amount of solar radiation, but during the rainy seasons, it becomes less. So, but that can be supported through hydro, of course, and also wind. So we can get wind energy from coastal regions, of course, even in the northern regions, the desert regions, we can get, the wind energy there. So those are potential renewable sources where we could get those energy mix from there. So the biomass, most of agricultural crop residues, we normally waste them, but those can be converted to energy, of course. So those are key entry points where we as Nigerians, we as policymakers should really work towards that. Even 3 days ago that I was in Abia State, of course, to design the climate change policy for the state government. So these are some of the things that we actually discuss, those entry points, so that we can have a good energy mix that is reliable and sustainable. I'm not sure. I think even here where I'm living, I think the past 7 months or so, you really have electricity. Let me just say 1 hour, 30 hours, 30 hours in a month. So that's really crazy. So that's like 1 hour per day. Sometimes you don't even of electricity. So it's really crazy that these issues is affecting not just the low income, but also the middle and high income population. So this is a little of the background, the transition plan. So in 2015, the National Renewable Energy Policy, of course, all of these things, before we can transition to renewable energy, as a non-profit, as young people, you can do your best in providing solution at 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 some level, but it's always good to harmonize your solutions to what is obtainable at the national. So the national government or even at the subnational, they normally design policies, of course, that will align with the priorities that they are and the challenges that they are facing. So since 2015, there was this policy on energy efficiency. In 2017, the Rural Electrification Agency tried to expand the mini grids because most of the rural communities, of course, they lack in electricity. I can still remember even my community that has been in existence for hundreds of years. We're able to start having electricity 5 years ago. So you can see that there's most of those rural communities that don't even see light, like they can't even see electricity. So like they don't even have grids being connected. So it's really troubling to find out that some of those communities don't have power. So it's really troubling. So there was that project, rural electrification, in 2017. Of course, I know currently the sustainable energy for all is also expanding the mini grids to off-grid areas. So those communities, those rural communities, could have access to electricity. Then in 2020, the off-grid solar expansion program started gaining tractions. You started having a lot of private companies coming into the country to support in young people, train young people on solar installation, because I think solar is really the big thing. It can work across every part of the country, can work very well in the northern part, here in the southern part. So lots of private investment, private companies now came in since around 2020 to start training young people on solar electrification. Then 2021, the Paris Agreement, just like I said, of course, that agreement was really, shall I say, was really a turning point whereby it had to allow member states like Nigeria, for instance, to start making some ambitious commitment towards expanding their energy, access to their growing population. So we started having that, the Paris Agreement, the Nigeria's agreement, just like I said. The former vice president was really a key player, Professor Yemi Osibanjo was really a key player in supporting that, the energy transition plan. Then in 2025, the Green Growth Transition Target, of course, where we are driving towards and completing the UN Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. So you can see a lot of policies are trying to align to the SDG by 2030. You should be able to achieve that, zero poverty, eradication, and all of that. Climate change and all of those stuff, green growth, quality education and all of that. So lots of countries that are raising their ambitions to make sure that they are in line with the Paris goals and also the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Because why that is because if they don't do that, they are unable to access climate finance, which is very important. So you tend to see most of this. The World Bank is donating 10 billion, 5 billion to Nigeria and all of that. Most of those monies because there are concessional loans, some are grants, just trying to spur you up to make your country transition to green growth and also to renewable energy sources because it's really important. Nigeria, with the growing population of young people, and the opportunities young people have, of course, could also be a challenge. Of course, could also be a challenge if we don't key into most of these international interventions, and also most of these investment opportunities. So it will become very devastating if we don't. Of course, it will be a blessing if you seize these opportunities as young people to create these solutions and innovations to transition the country to net zero by 2060. So that's the target for Nigeria, the green growth transition target in the energy transition plan. Of course, that is for 2060. By 2060, we've been able to achieve net zero emissions by 2060. So there are a lot of investments that is coming in. So that is why this call is really important for us, as young people who are very smart, that you could take on one or two initiatives collectively or even individually as a group. We can support in those transformations. So for the opportunities, so jobs will be created in the green sector, the energy sector, because jobs will be created. Now you started seeing most of these distribution companies in Nigeria, they now have, I know we are improving, they now have GIS experts, that monitoring the grid. Once there is power outage, of course, they can track and know the location that is coming from, and they send some communications to the public. There will be a power outage for early preparedness, maybe in the next 2 hours or so. Please, just want to inform you. Those kind of things. In the last, say, a decade ago, we never had some of those kind of improvements. So they've started seeing how energy is really important and why we should have access to energy, even as an individual or any population should be able to have equal access to energy. So it will reduce reliance on diesel generators. I know that is one of the issues that we are having. One of the issues that we have. Sorry, my office is very close to the main road. It could be a bit noisy sometimes. Sorry about that. But I hope you are following. So it could be reduce reliance on diesel generators and also petrol generators as well. So it calls for a serious concern. Then the health and climate co-benefits, of course, having good energy, renewable energy that is emission free, of course, will support us, will support our health. Some of those tract infections, heart infections, lung infections, pulmonary infections, and all of that, of course, will be reduced to the barest minimum. So you won't be smelling diesels, all of those carbon monoxide, all of those harmful chemicals, pollutants. So it's going to reduce. So of course, it will increase our life expectancy. Why many people are really dying young as a result of these energy issues. Of course, energy contributes to almost 33% of the overall greenhouse gas emission combined in Nigeria. Even when I was working with the ECOWAS Commission that we designed the ECOWAS regional strategy, of course, energy was the highest emitter of greenhouse gases emission before agriculture. So that is why it raises concern, because everyone needs energy, even at their capacity. You don't have a big generator. Some people use Abetapas, my neighbor, and all of that, just to see light. That is why energy is very important. That is why, energy is really important. And with the growing population, of course, we are going somewhere if we don't transition to renewable energy sources. So it's going to attract climate finance. So like I said earlier, most of these investments are being locked down because if you have good energy policies, if you have good NDCs, now Nigeria is developing the next NDC 3.0. Of course, that will be due this year for submission to the UNFCCC. So if we do not have that, most of those commitments being streamlined and we have that kind of policy document, we won't be able to, attract climate finance. The developed countries, which of course we have always been debating now, almost $1.3 trillion annually. Of course, if we don't harmonize our policies to be climate resilient, we won't be able to access most of this funding. So we have a whole lot of things to do as a government, as individuals, as young people towards climate change and energy. So I know there are a lot of barriers, they said. There are a lot of barriers, challenges. Some of them are financing and investment barriers, just like I said. If you don't have good investors, if you don't have a good proposal, for instance, the GCF, the Green Climate Fund, is the largest funding body on climate change, anything on climate change adaptation and mitigation. So if you don't have a good proposal to send to the GCF, you won't be able to access those funding. And even the private sector, of course, you know how it is. If your proposal is not fit to, of course, generate income and value, they won't be able to fund to invest in your business. So it calls for concern as young people. If you have solutions towards driving renewable energy growth and expansion in the country, if you have those kind of solutions, is for you to put up some good proposals, and you'll be able to access funding to scale up your innovations. So, and also the policy inconsistency, of course, is really a big issue. Just like what we are having in the US, the Joe Biden administration, we are really cool with climate change issues. They try to formulate good policies for climate change, adaptation, and mitigation. But when Donald Trump came in, so he wasn't really interested in climate change. So started pulling out from the Paris Agreement, started pulling out from the UNFCCC and most of those scientific bodies that are providing climate information. So policy inconsistency is also a challenge. Here in Nigeria, again, you see President Buhari was really interested during his administration. He gave access to Professor Osibanjo, to be following up all of this energy transition, potential, because I think he really loved the climate work and initiative. So, but when Tinubu came in, of course, I know everybody has their own priorities. Every government, every administration has their own priorities. Of course, Tinubu is also supporting, the growth of the energy transition plan, and also attending most of those climate dialogues and conferences. So he's really doing his best. So that is why we are having good policies in that direction, having lots of young people in his administration, most of his essays on climate change, on climate finance, stakeholders engagement. So we never saw that during Buhari's administration. So the climate space is really evolving in Nigeria, and the policies are becoming inconsistent. So, but by the time we now sit down to do this the NDCs, the nationally determined contributions, we'll be able to have a good document that will be sent to the GCF or to the UNFCCC for funding. So even at the subnationals, you find out that most of the states, of course, are really interested in climate change. Most of the states are not interested in climate change. Some is as a result of lack of awareness or policy alignment. For instance, Lagos state governments are really, promoting climate change solutions, doing all of this green transportation, EVs, converting of waste to renewable energy sources, and all of those green growth, solutions. Like I said, last three days ago, I was in Abia State to support the state government to develop their own climate change policies. So some states are really interested. Some subnationals are really interested in the climate change stuff. For instance, in Akwa Ibom, nothing is really going on in terms of the climate change policies. But I know some states like Kaduna, Kano, even Maiduguri, they are really getting involved in climate change issues. So infrastructure deficits. So those are some of the issues. There's no year here in this country that we don't hear of grids breaking down and all of that. So it calls for concern. Sometimes you hear the grids has collapsed. So energy, we won't find electricity in the next 2-3 days or a week or 2 weeks or so. So it calls for concern to strengthen the infrastructure, make it more resilient. I know Mr. President is really doing his best to expand some of the mini grids and also to expand some of the energy access, so many people will have access. Then the low level of awareness, like I said, low level of awareness from the states, even at the local government. Very few local government executives really understand climate change. So even if they send allocation to their pockets, to their government, they will use it for other things, maybe campaign and all of that, but they don't really have knowledge about climate change. And so it calls for more trainings, more engagements across different sectors, across different stakeholders in the energy sector. So resistance from fossil fuel lobbies, of course, this is also one of the key issues. I've been in COP 26, 27, 28, 29. So one of these issues it's the lobbies. The fossil fuel lobbies, all of these companies, I like mentioning their names because I know them very well. Most of those companies like the Mobil, the ExxonMobil, the Shell and all of those top companies, they don't support those scientific evidence. So by the time you realize that they will pay heavy money to I should use the word pseudoscientists. They will pay heavy money to pseudoscientists. No, these guys, they are not just scientists, but they are scientists that they could say they can turn a black paper to white. They can say this thing is white. Well, in reality, that thing is black. So we have scientists like that. We have scientists like that who would want to who these fossil fuel companies normally engage them. They have a good sense of the data, so they can manipulate the data and they can tell you there's no issue in burning fossil fuels. Of course, we still have more time to solve the climate crisis. So they will defend a lot of claims, put a lot of claims, so that at the end you realize that you are trying to provide climate solutions, and they just make you feel less of a thing that you are not even doing anything. So Coca-Cola, most of those companies, they are doing greenwashing promos and adverts. Their products are really nice. They are eco-friendly. They are renewable, but they are not. Not to talk of the recent global plastic treaty, of course, that was brought down. Countries were prepared to formalize that treaty so that it will be a binding document for everyone to start reducing single-use plastics and all of that. But the lobbies had to pay scientists and experts to defend them so that because they know how much they are generating from plastic production. They know how much they are generating, and this plastic is coming from fossil fuel, it's coming from coal. So they know how much they are generating. So those guys, they are not really, they are not really, they don't want to, they don't want to solve the climate crisis. They are just doing it for their own gain because they know if they transition to renewable energy sources, they will lose their company, they will lose their investment and all of that. So that is why they are paying pseudo scientists, pseudo experts millions of dollars to defend them and to manipulate the data so that it will look like fossil fuel is not contributing to climate change. So even Trump is one of them as well. Permit me to say that Trump is one of them as well. So most of those, they have a lot of companies, lot of connections, lot of diesel generators. They are manufacturing all of those things, and they are investing heavily on it. So if you say don't use diesel generator, you are trying to let's say you are trying to demarket their product, and they won't stay in the business again. So for them to stay in the business, they have to use every possible strategy to deny climate change and all of that. So that is some of the challenges that you are facing as a people. So here is case studies, success stories. So we have solar mini grids in the northern Nigeria, and it has expanded into some eastern part of the country and Lagos, some southwestern part of the country. We are having solar projects in Plateau, Taraba State at a very small scale. So it still boils down to expansion and making sure that you try to do a proposal to win some grants, partner with the private sector to invest. So the Lagos Waste to Energy project, like I have said earlier, of course, is also one of the solutions, some of the success stories that the country is achieving. So the pathway forward, stronger policy enforcement, yes. So we need it. We need to increase our climate finance. So we could blend domestic finance and also monies from the NFC, the GCF, the Adaptation Fund, and every other multilateral development bank they can support in raising that $10 billion annual mark to support the energy transition plan. The scaling up of the off-grid renewables, because some homes are now, like my house, I have solar. So even if, like I said, in the past 7 months, we don't have lights, and sometimes the light comes 1 hour in a day and all of that. So you need to support your energy demand with solar lights. So the public-private partnership is also very crucial, which would open up lots of investment opportunities for young people to also key. Then building up local capacity is also an important aspect. Nobody knows it all, so most times young people in local communities, they don't really understand how to develop some of these initiatives. So you have to build their capacity. There are lots of funding from the UNDP, building local capacity of young people and women on solar maintenance, solar repair, solar and solar panel development. So they are building capacity. So but we need to scale it up to every part of the country because of the demand, the energy demand that we are currently facing. So conclusion, climate change threatens Nigeria's development, renewable energy, sustainable, reliable, clean solutions. So, transition is both a necessity and also an opportunity. So that is all I have for now. Sorry if I've taken much of your time, but that is what we need to do as an individual, as young people, to support the energy transition plan for the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akpan, for that enlightening and engaging session. Your insights into climate policy and renewable energy are invaluable. Fun fact, I'm actually using a solar box to charge my devices as we speak. Shout out to the almighty NEPA, or PSN as they like to call themselves now. It's the same power system, but a new name. So if you have any questions, please submit them in the chat box and I'll read it aloud for you. Let me check if we have any questions for Dr. Akpan. Okay, we have a lot of thank you, sirs. We have thank you so much. Everyone seems to be okay. Any questions? Does anyone have any question? Please write it in the chat box. Okay, we have a question from George Igwe. Thank you, George, for sending your question. What is the present administration doing specifically regarding climate change and energy plans and goals? Thank you.
Sorry, please, can you take the question again?
Mr. Akpan. Okay, George Igwe is asking, what is the present administration doing specifically regarding climate change and energy plans and goals?
Okay, yeah. I won't speak for the government, but I know like there is an energy transition plan that I said, and most of those plans, by the time you start implementing it, it becomes a very big issue. There are some barriers. Currently, the government is partnering with Sustainable Energy for All to make sure that they key into the mission 300 million. The World Bank and Sustainable Energy for All wants to expand energy access in Africa to over 300 million people, those that do not even have energy access. So Nigeria is really a key player there, and that is the direction of the Nigerian government at the moment, to key into that initiative to make sure that there's energy access. I know the president, of course, last 3 weeks, they've been commissioning energy facilities across the country, in Abuja, in Plateau and most of those regions. So they're also doing their own bit to increase the megawatts that we are currently having at the moment. So Nigeria is also supporting, working in line, partnering with most of those international funders, donors, to make sure that we are able to have that $10 billion yearly to implement the energy transition plan.
Thank you, sir. We have another question. Actually, I'm going to merge two questions. There's one from the public health girl. She says, how can we contribute to see that the green energy is moving forward? And there's also another question from several people, actually. They're asking for your social media handles.
Okay, yeah, so it's always good, to work on a lot of stuff. As young people, you have different projects. I can remember there was a time some years back, I was working with one of my friends. One of my friends is an engineer, so we tried to develop design a cold storage facility to store up farm produce directly from the farm. So by the time farmers harvest their crops, their produce, they store their produce in the cold storage that we designed. It was remote sense. The temperature was regulated so that by the time it gets to the market, those produce don't get spoiled. Sometimes here in Nigeria, you see by the time you harvest tomato from Kaduna, from Zambara, from even Bauchi and those northern states. By the time you transport it to maybe Akwa Ibom or Lagos, some of those produce get spoiled along the way. So we're trying to do that. So we actually designed that, and it was solar powered. It was solar powered. But the issue was scaling it up, getting the raw materials from China. We were able to use money to do about 3 units of it. But it was really successful, and the farmers were really excited about the technology. It was a mobile storage. By the time you put your produce, you can move it to any part of the place before, or even to the market. So it was really nice. The issue was funding to scale. So Nigerians, there are a lot of opportunities. You can combine energy with agriculture, because agriculture is one of those sectors that contributes to greenhouse gas emission. Energy is also one of those sectors. Energy is the most impactful sector. So you can combine that. There is this solar irrigation systems. We can actually design that. A lot of things that young people can design. So by the time you design the solar irrigation machine, you find out that farmers can they can plant all through the seasons. Even during dry periods, the sunlight will hit the solar panels, and the farm will be irrigated, even automatically. It could be automated. So there are a lot of things. So even during rainy period, of course, where we have rain, so you can store the water against the dry period. There are a lot of initiatives that you just put your heads together and see how you can design something from the concept note. By the time you are done, you have a good mentor. It could support you to start writing proposals. The World Bank, at the moment, African Development Bank is funding climate smart technologies for young people. They are really scaling it up. There are a lot of, I think about $25 billion that is being kept for young people to support their techniques, to support their innovation. So if you are part of it, if you can design something, you share it with them, and probably they have an interview with you, and they send some money for you to scale it up, because all of these things are investment opportunities. Banks don't just invest, but they invest by the time you now design the economic module and all of the business plan and everything is okay. They will be able to invest a significant amount of money for you to scale it up, because they know that investment will create a lot of jobs for other people as well, and a lot of economic growth and transformation for the country as well. So it's just for you to sit down and try to design something, even if it's a prototype. Maybe it's not a really flashy stuff, but by the time you sit down and design something, it will really help a lot. And you can, of course, it can pay some bills. It can pay some bills. I don't know if I've answered your question.
I believe you have. Thank you, sir. We will be taking our final question from Ukobong Edeboro. How can we achieve a significant energy transition in the country without endangering the country's economy, which is mostly petroleum resources driven?
Yes, see, the issue is, it's like I said earlier, even the resistance, like I gave a case study in the United States. Even here in Nigeria, there are a lot of the big guns. We call them the big guns. You know, they are trying to thwart the energy transition plan, you know, because they've have investment outside the country. They've had companies that are manufacturing these diesel generators that they are importing to the country. So they are here to track some of those efforts so that we don't transition smoothly, you know. But I know at some point we will, but it will be a gradual process, of course. By the time the renewable energy sources start having a significant return on investment, and you see a value for your money, you realize that probably the cost of manufacturing a generator becomes higher than the cost of doing developing a solar panel. You realize that they will now switch, and I know for sure that they will, but for now it will be a bit difficult to switch immediately, to transition immediately. But I know it will. Just like I gave an example, you know, all these business mogul, they don't like um, they don't like losing, or be at the losing end. So anything that they invest, they believe it will yield profit. So by the time this solar of a thing, this renewable energy becomes significantly less in terms of the amount to procure, the amount to buy, and all of that. But even for me, I can say it has. You know, when I installed my solar energy in my house, you know, I think it ran up to 5 million or so, you know, last year. But if I now calculate the money that I would have spent on buying diesel or buying petrol to be powering my generator, sometimes even the generator, you need to service the generator maybe in 2 weeks, or you need to change oils and do maintenance. So by the time you do all of those, by the time you calculate how much you are spending, like I said, more than 7 months now, not had light. Like even if you have light, maybe it's 1 hour per day. So by the time you now spend how much you are spending buying fuel is about 900 and something naira per liter. Maybe in a day you can spend up to 5,000, or let's say 10,000 for fueling for fueling the generator. So by the time you calculate that cost in a month, and the maintenance cost of maintaining the generator, sometimes the generator gets bad, you need to replace. So by the time you calculate all of those costs, you find out that you spend more than even acquiring the solar, panels. So it will be something that will change. I know we will change at some point. We will transition at some point. But for now, the big guns won't allow us to transition immediately. But by the time we now compare the price in the next 5 years, let me just put it in the next 5-10 years, you realize that all of our streets will be run by solar, all of our stops will be run by renewable energy sources.
Thank you very much, Dr. Akpan. Thank you all for sending your questions as well. If you have any other questions, you can include his social media handles in the slide before sending it. Some of the points that Dr. Akpan has expertly walked us through are climate change in global context, Nigeria's vulnerability, and why renewable energy matters in Nigeria. Thank you very much, Dr. Akpan. Once again, we are grateful to have you, and we look forward to implementing everything we've learned here today.
Thank you.
So, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So thank you once again to both our facilitators for today, for those amazing sessions. And thank you to everyone for your questions. If you found today's session helpful or interesting, drop an emoji in the chats. Let us see how you're feeling. Also, you can share a comment about something new you learned today. I would love to see what stood out for you. Now, moving on to the final segment of our program, we have some important announcements from our project lead, Mayowa Sholola. Over to you, Mayowa.
Hello, everyone. Good morning once again. Good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for the section, for staying through for the section. We had Mr. Emmanuel section and also Mr. Akman as well. They also had an impactful section with us. Thank you. We appreciate you. And we want to say we continually, as a prospective advocate, keep on driving this. So it's announcement time and for our masterclass. So you can see, kindly confirm if you can see my slide. This is the week 1 masterclass. So we just, like, we've not started yet. At least we still have like 5 masterclasses to go. So this is the week 1 masterclass. And why you see the picture there is, you can see Ahmed the Maker, Tomiwa David. It's an announcement time. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I'm trying to call your attention to this, that this is an announcement time for every one of you. And so this is a time we need to take serious. So here my slide, you can see the 2 important things. The 2 most important things during this course of phase 1 is your attendance and your active participation. So we need to participate in everything that we will be doing all through this masterclass, from masterclass 1 to 6. And as we continue this transformative journey together, please just note these following important guidelines. Number 1 is the attendance. Attendance is very compulsory for every one of us. Everyone must join all masterclass session. This is not a masterclass you need to choke on. Everyone must join, and I'm so sure my colleagues are sending an attendance link on the chat right now. That is, it's just for everyone that stayed through this thing. It will be shared 3 times. Once we start the masterclass on every Friday, it will be shared. In the middle of the section, it will be shared. So we are tracking it 3 times just to track your attendance, that you are really here and you are really active and participating all through this masterclass. So, and also the last, which will be sent at the end of the section, that is, we are tracking. And we do not want any private chat at all. That, hey, I was at the masterclass, you're having any network glitch. No, you cannot have network glitch 3 times. So, and at every point in time, we are also going to be changing the links so that it will not be as if after the section you are going to the form to fill it again. And I also want to tell you that immediately after the section, we are going to disable the link. So any attendance link will be shared for every section and it must be filled. Please note, the link we close immediately after the section ends, and we don't want any spamming or any private messages to any of our admin. So we also have our own, we also have another life to live, and we also have another work. You can see what Mr. Emmanuel said during his section. He has another section for 2 o'clock, which we have already posted on our WhatsApp platform. He's also having another section. This is not the only program we are also running. We are running a lot of programs. So please, if we did not respond to any of your chat, just know that we are handling a lot of tasks and it's not our fault. Please, and that is why we are driving this. We are reinforcing this once again. Everyone must join on masterclass section, and attendance link will be shared, and you must fill it. The second, which is our active participation. Every participant is expected to fully engage during these master classes. Your contribution matters a lot. So I don't want to waste much of my time there, because I've already emphasized on the important thing at the beginning. So let's stay updated. Always check your WhatsApp regularly for important updates. Always check it. For some of us that will say, I didn't receive the mails and all of that, the WhatsApp is another secondary platform whereby we use as our communication platform. So please stay through during this section. Please kindly check your WhatsApp regularly for important updates, instructions, and announcements. If there is going to be any update or any announcement, any fresh announcement, this is where we communicate this, our WhatsApp group. And now I want to go
to the next one, which is the group chat rule. Every participant is allowed in only one official WhatsApp group. I reiterate again, every participant is allowed in only one official group chat. Anyone found in multiple groups will be removed, will be exited from the program immediately. So I want to urge every one of you, and we sent this mail to you before. Now this was part of the initial mail we sent to you. And we also shared this mail as well this week as well. And we stated this, anyone found in multiple groups will be removed. And we have our team, our community managers tracking this. Please do well to join just one official WhatsApp group. The next is all advocates are to post their learnings. All advocates are to post. Last week was opening ceremony, which we enjoyed very well. But now we've kicked off our masterclass, and at least we are learning one or two things. All advocates are to post their learnings, their takeaway for today's section across their social media platform, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere, and hashtag SDSN and also SDG Advocate. So please try as much as possible to post across all platforms your learnings and your takeaway for today's section, as well as submit the link alongside the tracking, and the evaluation form will also be shared. Please do that. And as well, submit the link alongside, so for tracking and also for evaluation form. So all these things are very important during this masterclass. Your learnings and your takeaway must be sent on your social media platform. And second to the last is, please remember that tracking is done continuously. Please remember that tracking is done continuously. We are not going to wait for you week 3 and you are not coming week 1. I was there, you are telling us stories. We are not going to listen to your stories, and that is why we are saying this. Please remember that tracking is done continuously. Tracking is done continuously, and the team is monitoring every participation closely. Our team is monitoring the participation closely. So your commitment is what makes this program impactful. Your commitment. It is not my own commitment. I have my own commitment to make, and I am trying my best to do that. Please, your commitment is what makes this program impactful. Let's give it our best shot. Let's make it our best together. Now, I want to reiterate what I said last week, the structures of the program. We have 4 months journey in these 3 phases, and this is the first month. So we can see that we've not kicked off at all. So the first month, the first phase is the masterclass and self-paced learning, which we are currently running now from August to September, is our live masterclasses, self-paced SDG academic courses, which Mr. Emmanuel also talked about, will be shared also with you. And the states group networking and book review, this will be done immediately after phase 1. So, which will now take us, everyone that does not qualify for this will not move into phase 2, which is own a school projects. I reiterate again, everyone that do not take this phase 1 so important, please, states, they will not transition to the next phase, which is the own a school project. The second phase is own a school project, which introduce SDGs in schools around you. In your community, you introduce SDG around you. You create and also strengthen the SDG clubs. There are some of our advocates they've gone to some of our schools, and at least now we have SDG club in some of these schools. So you might go to some schools and you will see that SDG clubs are running, and if they are not running, you can also create one for them. So why this phase 2 is also going on. Now, this phase 2, which is on the school project, you also have the access to engage teachers, students, and also the school communities. So, and if you did not qualify for this as well, you now move to phase 3. And what's the phase 3? This the community advocacy, and this is a state-based team. That is, after you qualify for phase 1, which you'll now be grouped into states, your states now after qualifying for the phase 2, which is on a school project, which bring you to state-based team. That is, you'll be addressing the local issues with creative, sustainable solutions. So it could be online, and also it could be virtual advocacy. So you have specific deadlines, proposals, reports, and project implementation for all these phases. I reiterate again, you have a specific deadlines for proposals, reports, and project implementation, that is project finalization for all these phases, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So now, this is a caveat and the expectation. This is not a paid program, but trust me, it's going to be a stretchy one. So and it's just going to push you beyond your comfort zones. So importantly, you have to commit fully well to this program just to make yourself a better person. It will make you more skilled, more connected, more intellectual, and more capable of creating changes within you. I say it again, and as we all know, that's 4,513 are onboarded already. Please, this 4,513 might not eventually pass through these 3 phases. But please don't miss deadlines, don't skip activities. And you always engage in all projects, and not meeting reporting requirements, please, will not make everyone to succeed to the next phase. So as I said again, 89% qualified, and this is a very good news for us. So you are now part of something bigger than you. You are not just here to learn, but you are here to lead. Everyone are leaders, and this is what I've always been emphasizing. This is what I've always been evangelizing. Everyone is a lead. You are a lead on your own. The community where you are a lead. Every class you attend, every project you run, every connection you make is a seed for changes. Imagine the impact of all 4,513 of us left this program ready to transform schools, one community, one policy. That is, we have 4,000 plus impact points across Nigeria. Please, I want to state this in your mind. The mind is not just like the mind is just like a muscle. The more we exercise it, the stronger it gets, and the more it can expand. Please, I want you to exercise and make it stronger, our mind. Thank you, and I appreciate. Over to you, Faridat. Thank you so much for this section.
Thank you, Mayowa, and thank you to everyone who participated today. Attendance has been posted on the YouTube live chat, as he said, and do not forget to post your learning and takeaway for today's session across your social media platforms. This marks the successful completion of week 1 of the SDG Advocate Programme Cohort 7 Masterclass session. We are excited to officially welcome our new advocates, and we look forward to walking this journey with all of you as you advance the SDGs. Congratulations once again, Cohort 7. I remain Farida Opaifa. See you in week 2.